Why do we use metaphor and analogy? Why do we use these things? Because not using them is hard. And that's all there is to it. Okay, so I underestimated how hard it would be to actually get started. It's like, it's the turtles all the way down, but there's something at the bottom of the turtles. There's got to be a way to start. There's got to be something underneath. No, there doesn't got to be. Okay, let's just dive right in. This is going to be a first attempt, not my first attempt. I've tried many times, but never as seriously or as starting at as low or high a turtle as today to talk about computers without using metaphor and analogy. Okay, so I think it just boils down to this. We need words and statements. We need to name this world. Let's call it machine world. This world that I'm talking about, this world on top of the pre-existing world that we've built in the modern era of technology. Let's call it machine world. I think that's defensible from a physics perspective, but we're not going to get into that. We need to distinguish between words and phenomena. I don't want to do philosophy. I feel compelled to do it. I like doing it, but I wouldn't say I want to do it. Does that make sense? But you have to do it for a fraction of a second here. Let's just distinguish between the words that we use and the phenomena that are sort of beyond the reach of words that that are direct experience. Okay, last but not least, and most not least, is let's make some falsifiable statements or some statements that can be corrected if they're wrong. Number one, now there's no real way to start this in order. I'm going to try to start with the least number of difficult things, but there's no way to do it. It's like one of those puzzles where you move one piece and it moves another. And why can't I think of an example? Because I don't like puzzles, and this is a puzzle. Statement number one: a computer is an object connected to a power supply, for example, a battery or an electric grid. Statement number two: power supplies are devices connected to wires or via wires, capable of doing some watts of work. Statement number three: a watt, or a joule per second, a watt of work is how much work is done when 1 volt pushes a certain number of charge carriers, such as electrons, past a point in 1 second. It can be thought of as the rate of tasks of size joule being done. You with me? I thought so. Statement number four: a joule is 1 Newton times 1 meter, i.e. force times distance. It can be thought of as the physical size of a task, regardless of how quickly the task is achieved. Statement number five: the arrangement of materials inside it. Now, this is where it starts to get computery. I had to deal with some physics there, set some groundwork. We'll go into all that later as necessary. I just want it there for your reference. If you ever want to grab onto something and you don't want to go digging through your own pile of books, like I have, you can just jump back to the notes for this podcast. Statement number five. Let's get computery. The arrangement of materials inside a computer determines or controls where the watts from the power supply go. And remember, watts are joules per second. The arrangement of materials inside a computer determines where the watts from the power supply go, specifically the set of which devices get energized sufficiently to work. Again, which devices, from pixels to LEDs to fans to keyboard keys, get energized sufficiently to quote-unquote work, i.e. behave as intended by their designers. That's statement number five. And statement number six: the set of devices within the computer that are energized at time t determines which applications of force, e.g. key presses, will cause other devices, e.g. pixels, to be energized at time t plus 1, the moment after force is applied. Again, the set of devices within the computer that are energized before the force is applied determines which force application, will cause which other devices to be energized after the force is applied. Oh, I botched it. I tried to wing it because the written version is kind of clunky, but man, wresting that sentence out of my books and brain was harder than I thought. The point of all this is just to give us a starting point. Me a starting point, really. If you like this stuff, great. If you don't worry. We had to start somewhere. We can't say turtles all the way down. We must replace the turtles with vocabulary and statements that can be challenged. Co4, Sunday, February 4th, 2024. We started at 4:52 p.m., signing off.